Welcome back to my series on painting botanical watercolor flowers. Today we are going to be tackling this top dahlia and finishing the whole thing in one video, thankfully. If you've watched my other videos on this series, you know that I go petal by petal, observing the reference photo, making some adjustments from the reference photo, but mostly trying to focus on the lights and darks, putting in the color that I see, adding some shadow, adding some texture and veins. Veins? Do petals have veins? Whatever those things are. Biologists, comment below. Looking at the flower in this reference photo, this top one has a lot of pink, especially in the outer petals. And so I think the Opera Rose is going to be really great to add that detail and just really make it pop. I'm using this new brush that I got, which is a Filbert brush, a number 6. And I like the Filbert because it is similar to a flat brush, but then it's rounded on the top. So I can get some of these petal shapes really nicely. This was a fun one. It also will lift pretty well, and I can kind of scrub if I need to remove paint. I'm looking at the inside of this flower, and that's where the darkest colors are. That filbert is really great for getting these small details and these little lines in between these little petals that are kind of curved over one another. And just like with the other flower, it's all about building up the colors, building up the shadows and the contrasts. And so you're going to see with this video how much I kind of go over petals a couple of times after I let them dry and decide what level of contrast I want. For some of these petals, I'm not adding in any color other than the wash I added at the very beginning, but I'm going in and adding some of that veining. I'm going to call them veins. I am not going to Google it, and I'm just going to pretend I'm correct. Adding in these veins right away, kind of softening it with the side of my brush, but then also letting some of them stand out against the background. These middle inner petals have a bit of yellow to them, so I'm just paying attention to what petals are leaning more yellow, what petals are leaning more pink. And then for my lightest kind of white, I'm adding in a bit of purple, like very light purple, almost like a bluey purple to be the super soft, light, like almost white petal. Once again, I'm using my finger sometimes to kind of blot the area that I just put paint down on, to soften it, but not add any more liquid. Again, if you saw my last video, it's not recommended that you touch watercolor paper much with your hands because the oils can interfere with the paint. Um, I don't care. I do what I want. Now, it's if I were doing this for like a commission for someone I would be a lot more careful, but this is just for me. So, I'll touch the paper if I want to. I don't know if that sounds like really aggressive. Like I do what I want, but um it's just literally not the end of the world. It's going to be fine. In my last couple of videos, I had a lot of spots of just music playing while I painted because my technique is the same over and over of just building up those layers and taking the time, even though it's not shown in this video, of just taking the time to pause and look at the reference photo and just see the development slowly emerge. And because I sped this video up, you can see that emerge more quickly than I saw. But I just love watching those kinds of time lapses of painting. But it means I don't always have things to say. But one of my friends said that she she said, I just want you to talk in the videos. I just like listening to you yap. So if you don't agree with my friend, you feel free to mute me, but I'll probably just chat about whatever's on my mind and then intersperse it with watercolor tips. That Filbert, because it is flat, you can kind of see on its side, it's so good for those fine details without having to go to a smaller brush or a fine liner. I think it might be one of my new favorite brushes, Filbert. I'll add that in the description below. Oh, but I love it. I really love adding shadows and like the darks too. It just makes so much difference. And I really want the intersection of intersection. No, let me try again. I really want the innermost section of this flower to really pop and have those super light petals with a super, super dark shadow. So I don't actually paint for my job. Art is a hobby for me, my favorite hobby. But I'm actually a teacher. I teach middle school. I teach seventh grade language arts for the last 10 years. And then before that, I taught high school English back in Michigan for 3 years. So this is my 14th year of teaching, which is crazy because I feel like I was just in college. Oh, time. What even is it? But sometimes my students ask me about like crazy teaching stories because the things I have to say as a middle school teacher boggle the mind. Like, I've just had to say the weirdest stuff because middle schoolers are equal parts awesome and feral. So maybe I'll intersperse some of my favorite stories. What I really like about what's happening right now is that because I'm darkening some of the areas and adding shadows, but leaving the tops very light, like that background wash color, the petals look like they're like sinking back into the flower. And then the tops of the petals are like shooting out at me. Do you see what I mean? I like that. I think it's cool. That's what I love about dahlias too, is how like structured and sharp everything is. So gorgeous. My favorite flower is actually a peony. And I've painted those before, but I thought I'd do something different. When I was teaching high school, I taught 10th grade English mostly. And one day a girl came in late and sat in the back of the classroom and then dug around in her backpack and pulled out a curling iron and plugged it into the wall and started curling her hair in the middle of class. And I had to be like, you can't you can't bring a curling iron in here. You can't curl your hair. And she's like, Miss, I have to. I'm having a bad hair day. And she just pretty much begged me to let her do her hair. And of course, I did not let her because that's a hazard on so many levels. Oh, kids. I switched over to that fine liner to add in the veins. A fine liner is super great if you don't have a brush that has like a super sharp tip anymore because you've used it a lot. Um, the fine liner can get really intricate details if you want it to. Another time when I was teaching, I looked over at a student and they had taken their little case where they keep their contacts in their contact solution, you know what I mean? And they were sipping from it. And I started freaking out. I was like, I'm pretty sure you can't drink that. I'm pretty sure it's toxic. And they were like, no, 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 it's okay. It's not actually my contact solution. I'm just taking my water bottle and pouring a little bit into my contact case and then sipping from it. And it's like a little tea party. And they were so proud. And I just hope to goodness gracious that they had washed that out before drinking from it. But they made it through the year. I can start to see that contrast between the inner and outer part of the flower really starting to develop here, those kind of layers. I like this flower too as a contrast to the middle one because it is like super structured and tight, and the bigger one has kind of opened up and is also at a different angle. So you just get to see all different parts of the dahlia, which is cool. Do you say dahlia or dahlia? I grew up dahlia, but maybe I'm wrong. One time when I was teaching middle school, a girl came up to me completely seriously and she said, Miss Sun, Katie's talking about chicken nuggets, but we agreed that only I'm allowed to talk about chicken nuggets. She was like in tears. I don't have time for this. I'm busy. Another time I walked into my classroom to see two girls standing with a stapler in one of their hands, and they were trying to staple the other girl's hair. Um, Not as like a bullying thing or anything. They were friends. They were truly just seeing what would happen if they stapled through her hair. I stopped that one. We don't staple each other's hair in class, you know what I mean? Do I teach 7th grade? Do I teach kindergarten? Who knows? I have an endless supply of stories. I do end up painting this flower bolder and more saturated than the reference photo. And just like with the flower below it, I'm not too I'm using the reference photo for looking at the placement of shadows and veining and contrast. But in terms of color, I really am painting a little bit more with my heart. I like a bolder color usually, and I like how vibrant this one turned out, while still having kind of that contrast between the light petals and the darks and the shadows. One of my first years teaching in middle school, I had a new student partway through the school year, and he decided he didn't really want to be in my class at that time. So he jumped up on the windowsill and opened the window and jumped out and just ran off. Now, thankfully, I teach on the ground floor, so but still, um, it was an experience. That's where I learned the word defenestration, which means to throw something or someone out a window. So he defenestrated himself. Call that auto defenestration. Auto meaning self, right? So there you go. I'm an English teacher at heart. I'll teach you any vocab word. Here's another interesting word. I read the word antipode. Um, Anti meaning like opposite or not, and then pode, the root word meaning foot. And an antipode is on the globe, the opposite point on the globe of wherever you're standing. So, like, draw a line through your feet to the opposite, like, where does it come out? You say, like, dig a hole to China, but our antipode in the United States is definitely not China. Most antipodes are the ocean because most of the globe is water, right? There are some antipodes that are land. So areas of South America and China are antipodes. So that's interesting. That's an interesting little tidbit of information. You can see here I'm really going in with the saturated color to add these final areas of darkest in the center. We're finishing this up. I'm really liking how the petals are layering and how the shadows are kind of separating the layers of the petals. I think this flower took me just under 2 hours. It does take a lot of time. I know this is a video that's under 20 minutes. There's a lot of editing. You don't need to see me pause and look at the reference photo, but most of that time is just observation and these um, little adjustments, little tweaks here and there. Standing back, setting it up far away, looking at it from a distance, seeing what I want to add. That's what makes this style of painting really fun when you have a chunk of time of just being able to zone out. So that's the flower. I'm really happy with how it looks, and it makes me really eager to finish the bottom flower and then add the background, which I'm still planning on doing, even though it makes me nervous. So I hope you enjoyed listening to my yap sesh and seeing my process for painting this flower. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.